Recording is in progress. Hello and welcome, everybody. Daryl Snyder, and look who's back in town.
Hello, hello.
Back from assignment. The Sierras, beautiful pictures. Brandon had a great time with his family, and he blessed us today with his appearance again. This is the Daily Deeper Dive podcast, Fantasy Sports Logic, in conjunction with Ballpark Pal. We do these videos almost every day. Brandon, while you were gone, I was discombobulated. I started the video and I went to show all the information and realized I hadn't uploaded it yet. So I was about 10 minutes in of rambling, and that's a blooper. I didn't post that one. And then Sunday, because Krista sliced and diced her thumb in a food processor, I was a little out of whack there. So we don't do it every day, but almost every day, and some days just half a video because I failed to upload everything. But I think we're good today. This is a Fantasy Sports Logic site, a lot of crazy cool things happening that I'll hint at a little bit today, or we will. Got a video there, 7-day test drive, only $1 of the optimizer, which will take a sneak peek. There's a little 3-minute video. Talks about special features, doesn't include the stack attack mode, which is most recent. We will show you that. Let's get to the blog. Yay, I posted it Thursday, August 3rd. Our charts with our partner, Ballpark Pal. You can go to ballparkpal.com and see a lot more information, but Aaron has an agreement with our partnership, does a couple of things. He provides one of the 7 data player production feeds into the optimizer, 8 including our blend, and then he also every morning allows me to access these 4 charts. They are created through 3,000 simulations of the MLB games for the day. I looked earlier, I was talking to Brandon before this podcast went live. There's a nice 4-game slate morning. I think it's 11:05 Pacific. And then there's 6 games later. So this is a combination of those 2 slates. I'm going to give you a home run report, DFS report, starting pitcher preview, and the stadium report. Let's jump right in to the home run report, a very familiar name. Back in action for the last week or so, Aaron Judge. Look at the projection of probability of a home run for him. Holy smolies, that might be the highest I've ever seen. 35%. Have you seen one that high since we've been doing this?
I believe it is. And look at the matchup too.
39% with Javier. He is
they must have some
nice
history
matchup there.
together.
Yeah, the park pretty neutral, 2%. But that is the highest I've seen. That's in the afternoon slate or the early evening, I guess. And then in the early slate, Ryan O'Hearn, an Oriole against Gosman. That's 26% boost, 28% matchup boost, and a 13% Toronto Park boost. Ohtani's pitching today, so that's why he's not on the home run list, because as a pitcher, at least on DraftKings, he's not position player eligible. But Cerez facing him is he's a Mariner, 1 in 4 chance to hit a home run. The matchup, a nice 30% boost. What do you see there, Brandon, as you glance at some of the rest of it?
Oh, some of the rest of it, I like. Go down a little bit. Santander, I like him today against Gosman. I had, who did I have in one of my lineups, and I replaced him with Santander. Nemo came up, and it looks like he's out today. So it was, I think I made a good swap putting Santander in there.
I see a few Orioles, yeah. You got O'Hearn up top. You got Rushman, the catcher. Frazier usually bats 9th, so that's a nice wraparound if you're going to do a stack. Against Gosman, you'd probably be different. We'll show that he and Scherzer 1-2 projected in the early slate points-wise as pitchers. So interesting thing about both those guys, they get a lot of strikeouts, but they're prone to giving up the long ball. So when you only have 8 options in a 4-game slate of pitchers, and the Giants are in a bullpen game, so unless you're going to be really crazy and take someone like Tristan Beck and hope he pitches 5 lights out innings, which would be out of the norm, not the lights out, but I don't know if he'll go that long. They got Alexander starting. Your choices, you're going to have to choose pitchers. You can't fade the 2 top pitching spots in your DraftKings lineup. So a couple of rival Dodgers there, Mookie and Will Smith against Sears of the A's, a lefty. So that makes some sense. That's a later afternoon game. Let's jump right into the DFS report. Aaron does a nice job, breaks it down by position, top 3 of every position except outfield and pitcher. And he gives us 8 of the top performers. First base, there's O'Hearn, makes sense. A former Giant, longtime Giant, Brandon Bell for Toronto with a nice projection there. Blue is FanDuel and green is DraftKings. So you see O'Hearn almost 10 points, Brandon almost 9, Mookie for the Dodgers almost 10. What else do you see there? You glance, and I usually jump right over to the pitchers, but I don't know what you're looking at. But
Well, for a pitcher, I like Gossman today. Take him. You got a nice lineup of pitchers in there, Ohtani and Scherzer. But going back to the hitters, I like Mookie today. I think that's a good matchup there.
But playing those powerful A's, though, I don't know. Those poor guys. They
What was the
got
score
to be
yesterday?
nearing a record for anemicness, right? It's like,
Yeah, what was 11-1 yesterday or something?
they just, I mean, it's
Destroyed them.
they got. I mean, their whole payroll is like 2 Dodgers, I think. Right. They're going to Vegas, so it's hopefully whatever happens there, they'll put some infusion into the payroll.
Yeah, that'll what's Vegas need now? They'll just need they've got the hockey, they've got the football, they have the baseball, and they just need the NBA team, right?
Yeah, do they have soccer there? I would imagine, huh?
I don't know. Not a big follower of the soccer scene.
Yeah,
Though I
me
did hear
either.
the Women's World Cup is going on right now, and I know US won their first game, tied their second with the Netherlands, and they moved on to the next round. I don't know if that started yet or not.
I haven't checked up on that, but I know what you just said is true. I did follow it up to that point. Been immersed in this MLB, and then guess what's tonight, Brandon? Do you know?
NFL preseason. The Jets are playing somebody.
They're playing the Browns in Canton, Ohio in the Hall of Fame game. So the preseason is upon us. I just looked at the schedule today because of some of the things we're going to be doing with a competition in the best ball with our friends at Drafters, and September 7th, I believe, is the actual opening.
The start
night
of the season.
Yeah, I think it's a Thursday
Back in the
night.
day, they used to have what was called the College All-Star game, and they would play the defending NFL champions. And I went to it one year, and I think it was 1976, and it was at Soldier Field in Chicago. And the game was actually rained out in the middle of the second half. And it poured so much that the AstroTurf field became a 100-yard long slip and slide. And
Wasn't that a Monday night game?
No, I think it was on the weekend.
I remember the game. I remember watching. Yeah, it was crazy. Like
Yeah, it would have been at the end of August. And anyway, people just left the stands. They went down on the field. You couldn't get any wetter than you already were. And people are just diving into the turf and sliding along. It was crazy.
Sounds like a lot of fun. I do remember that vividly growing up 100 miles outside of Chicago. It's the time of year normally they have the fair, you know, the 4-H fair. And
Mhm.
every year they had the fair at least one night. It would light up the sky with lightning, and you get that like our version of a monsoon, right? It would just,
Yeah.
but that was pretty crazy. So back to baseball, but we are excited. We will be providing feeds for football. We're going to be getting involved, have a little contest with our best ball teams, a little challenge that we'll put out there. We'll talk about that probably as early as next week, maybe Monday. But glancing at the rest, outfield, no surprise, Judge projected, probably the highest projected points in DraftKings as a position player, 12, with Rodriguez from Seattle at 10, Garcia, Texas at 9, and then a Pirate, that lefty, Swinski. Cubs, have you been seeing what they've been doing? Scoring some runs. They decided to keep their players, and Bellinger's had a great year. There's Happ, Bellinger, and Suzuki. That's they're in that later slate, and they're Stanton.
So you're
With
thinking
Judge.
about, you're going to stack some Cubs today?
Later in the afternoon, I would think they're getting to be pretty popular. I read an article I started to read that the pace that they're setting is almost an all-time high with runs now production wise. But
That Atlanta stack is getting pretty expensive.
jeez. Yeah. Yeah, I had a smart move yesterday because I knew that, you know, everybody and their brother was going to be on Atlanta, so I faded them, and I was good until the second inning, I think. Well, they had like 9. You know, sometimes you got to try to be different. That wasn't the time to do it. So
Yeah.
live and learn. Yeah, they are. I mean, Acuna, crazy. We'll get into that on the optimization. Here's the starting pitcher preview. Aaron likes to test the eyes of more wiser players like Brandon and I, who have to super squint. This one's actually a little clearer than Ben, or maybe I have it blown up more. But what he does here is, these are overall out. Green is good, red is not so good, and then these are the last 1,000 pitches out of the pitcher's hand of the preferred pitch. You'll see Lorenzen, he is now a Philly. I think this is his first start since the trade. Has a nice 4-seam fastball grade, a nice slider grade, and he might want to work on that changeup, a D-. He'll be facing Johnny Cueto. Remember that name? He's got the shimmy and shake. Right? Deceptive. He's still hurling. He was on the DL most of the year. I think this maybe his 4th or 5th start, but pitched decent. You can see 4-seam fastball blazes in at about 86 miles an hour, grading well on it. Not so good on his changeup, and then decent on his slider. So what do you see there? I see something popping out. What do you see in the starting pitcher preview?
Well, I like Gausman today. I was kind of leaning towards Flaherty, but that D really sticks out, which I don't like seeing, but I think that's a good pitcher matchup between those guys.
Who is it?
Flaherty.
Oh yeah, this is his first start. He just came over from the Angels. Yeah.
Probably wants to make a good impression. Can't go wrong with Ohtani if you can afford him. But that's kind of what I like today. I'm gonna go with Gausman.
Yeah, Scherzer. Look at his projection on strikeouts.
Yeah.
8.4 against Toussaint. I was reading about him. He's been bounced around, but he's actually pitched a couple of good games in a row. That could be a decent matchup. Not a lot of strikeouts, 3.3. Projected to go just over 4. Looks like he's having problems with his splitter, not splitting enough. D+. Scherzer grades out A-, C+, A. Carrasco could be on his last leg with the Mets. The F on his four-seam fastball, F on his slider. You might want to throw all changeups, A+, although they might start sitting on that if he doesn't have any deception and speed. But overall, not so good. He's facing Kansas City. That's an early game. Might want to look at Witt as a hitter. Perez, the catcher, could be a good play. And then on the other side of that slate, Brady Singer, not so good with his slider. In fact, really bad with an F, or a sinker, I'm sorry, but a slider really good, A+. So change C+. Not a bad projection. It's actually, I think, a quality start if he would hit this. Almost 6 innings, just under 3 runs, 5 strikeouts. There's Brandon's Kevin Gosman, former Giant from 3 years ago, I believe. Now with his buddy Brandon Belt. Let's see down here. We talked about Urias with the Dodgers going against those powerful A's. Probably going to be really chalky. Ohtani and Wu, that's interesting. That is probably a low number, I bet. Total 8, 7.5 maybe with those two. Anyways, great information. Again, you can go to ballparkpal.com, see a lot more. Here's what caught my eye months ago. Reached out to Aaron. I saw this Daily Stadium report. We created a partnership, and what this is, you can see Wrigley sneaking up there, right? I think it's the fact that Cubs bats have heated up, and so is the weather. It was a little cooler now, a little better than halfway. Runs neutral, home runs +7, a little under for doubles and singles, but it's been that way. And the Cubs scored 20, and what did they get yesterday? 12, 13. A lot of runs. But interestingly, I haven't seen Rogers Center in Toronto up there on top. Today they are, and then Chavez Ravine. Dodger Stadium, when things heat up, winds blowing, looks like straight out, a little bit to right, kind of brings Freddie Freeman into the fold. A lefty, Max Muncy, 10% home run boost in that game. That Mets Kansas City, maybe there's hope for Carrasco. 12% down in home runs, neutral stadium. Oracle Park. What's going on with Oracle?
Well, the wind's blowing out, but it's been warm in the Bay Area. I don't know why we have a minus 33% on that on the home run totals, but who knows?
12% down overall, 33%. Giants a bullpen game. They have the best record in the majors with bullpen games. They're 14-5. Yesterday Webb went, pitched great. They defeated the Dodgers. I keep thinking Dodgers beat the Dodgers. They defeated the Diamondbacks, the closest team to them in third, 4-2. Brandon Crawford, I don't know if you saw the replay on that. He had a nice triple into the gap. He had everything he could muster up, and he beat the slide and barely got his hand, and looked like the third baseman fell on him. But that was a key play. And then J.D. Davis had the go-ahead 2-run double. So they close up a 4-game series today. It's on the early slate. Alexander starting, as we talked about earlier. Tristan Beck, a former Stanford Cardinal, will be coming in bulk relief. You could see a little Jacob Junis, and if the game's close at all, Camilo Duvall, the league leader in saves, and guy throws it in there at about 103 when he's heated up. So then he mixes it with a slider, and it's pretty tough. I don't think I could hit him even with a wiffle ball bat and him throwing the wiffle ball. I'd probably swing 3 times before the ball got to the plate or totally miss it. But
That would leave a mark.
you what?
That would leave a mark.
Yeah, it would. Here's a promotion we have going on with our friends at Drafters, a couple of them, while they last. Anybody that takes a test drive of the Contrarian Edge Optimizer with its 8 live player projection feeds, 7 in our proprietary, as Leonard likes to say, secret sauce blend. We'll show you a little bit of that here in a minute. Try the Optimizer 7 days, only $1. You will get a $20 entry into the Drafters $2 million NFL best ball style contest with a chance to win a $300,000 first prize. Wouldn't that be good? I'd like to hear the story of one of our test drive participants that actually get in that contest and win. That would be very cool.
Would be fun.
If you like what you see at Drafters, there's no obligation once you enter the 20, but if you like their best ball and you want to put more entries in, or you want to play some of their player props or some of their regular contests, you can enter the code FSL100 in the promo code area, and they will double up on a $100 deposit. You'll get another $100 credit. So nice little promo there. As far as the 7 days for $1, we don't automatically upgrade people, Brandon, but what are the options when we know they're going to love it, especially now, and they want more? What can they do?
Well, if they just want to say they just want to do football, they can sign up for $29.97 a month. If they want to play year-round basketball, NBA, we're going to have golf next year, baseball and football. They can do a lifetime membership for $299.97, and that includes all future upgrades and sports as we add them to the optimizer.
Incredible value. But don't let us just tell you about it. Let us show you. You'll see here, this is the early slate, goes off in 90 minutes, I believe, 11 o'clock. Let me confirm that. It goes off in...
Got an hour and 36 minutes.
Okay, so by the time I render this video, you'll have a good hour or so. That's if I quit talking, Brandon. We'll try to make sure I do that here quickly. You can see 7 live player projection partner feeds, and they're not just any 7. They are the elite of the elite, totaling over 100 years of combined experience. We have Ballpark Pal. This is his first year with us. His 3rd year of creating charts and more advanced than they've ever been, 3,000 simulations. The Baker engine, first time it's ever been offered in baseball. We are excited about that. 10,000 simulations of any given game. That's provided by Sports Data.io. With Charles, they also provide our legacy feed from them. We have somebody's calling. Is that Avon?
No, that was one of my golf partners.
No, he knows you're back. Just tell him you can't go on assignment till after this call, then you can go out on the course.
No, I'm on injured reserve right now. He's calling.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's probably why he's trying to get you out there and get some of his money back.
That could be.
FTN data with Frank, not to be outdone, Brandon, 40,000 simulations of any given Major League Baseball event. It's incredible. RotoWire, you've been in the industry, you know about them. They provide data to ESPN, DraftKings, SiriusXM, I mean, the who's who. Sport Radar, Dan Williams, a veteran, great projections from them. And then Stats Perform. They were sort of unknown for me when I started this quest. and found out they've been around probably the longest, since the 1980s. Got Corey there, but what does all that rambling mean? It means if you look out here today, early slate, you've got all 7 of the projections a little bit different, right? I see a low for Scherzer of 16, I'd say 15,999 or 99, and a high from the Baker at 23 for Scherzer. Second in line is Brandon's probably going to be player of the day, but I won't make that judgment for him before we get off. He'll do it. You see, pitchers are usually the higher projected. Once in a while, with the Giants bullpen game, you're going to have position players above. There's Scott Alexander. He's an opener. It's only going to probably go 1, maybe a little over 1 inning. So projected in his ownership 12%, which seems high to me. I don't know if people around, somebody's got him as high as 15. That would be high. A 0 means it hasn't been filled in yet. We update these every 30 minutes, and you'll see there's about 3.6 minutes to go. So highest position player in the early slate, Corey Seager for the Rangers. That doesn't surprise. He was on the DL, so he's obviously back, hitting in the 2-hole. There's Witt. I liked him against Carrasco. He's up there. But what you can do with this, we just finished, we meaning our incredible technology team with our lead technologist. They took our insight and created a stack attack mode in automation. So you have a lot of different choices here. You can lock in if you say, I just want, depending on what you play, you can play single entries, you can play 3 entries, you can play max 20, max 150. DraftKings has made it so, I mean, I've seen games for as little as a penny. I know they have 10-cent games, 25-cent games, 50-cent games. I think the 25, the 50, and the $1, the $3 and the 15, you can all do max 150. So if you do max lineups, the strategies, it's a 4-game slate. So and the Cubs are later. So you might want to not go 5, but if one of the teams clicks today, which could be Kansas City against Carrasco, and they score like the Cubs have the last couple, or the Braves do almost every other day, and you stack them, if you can afford them, you have a greater probability to be above the money line. So what we've made it easy for you to do is you just number of players up here. I'm going to show you 5. I'm not recommending you do 5, maybe 4 on a 4-game slate, but I'm going to show you 5, the power of it. Just figured out, it gave me an orange, meaning things are set. Contrarian mode, you'll notice that it's always on, but you can turn it off. Contrarian helps you get a little bit different. I told people, Brandon, the feed just updated. That's what that was. I said I had them create contrarian mode to be different because a lot of people, when they meet me, they say I'm different. So there's the correlation there. But that's always on.
We call that Abby normal in our house.
Abby normal. There you go. Team stacking. Look at all these options. Pick out an individual team in the early slate, or do what we did. We created automation for you. Stack attack mode is off. When it's done calculating, which it is, I'm going to turn stack attack mode on. And I'm going to show you without locking anybody in. You could fade some pictures, like I ran some lineups earlier, so I didn't, I could fade Alexander, whatever. But let's just see what it does with just auto and 5. That is something that will go away. It didn't affect the lineups, but you can see this is a mix and match. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to get some diversity, meaning not all the same, right? You can look at the different providers. This is our proprietary blend of the 7. You're looking at the screen, you're going, I only see 4 in your blend. That's because there is a little hidden arrow up here, a slider, and you can see the rest. It'll open up Sport Radar, Sports Data IO, Stats Perform, back to the blend. But what you'll notice, you'll see some consistency. Gosman, I mean, there's only 4 games, so you're not gonna have, you know, everything be different. There's Scherzer and Gosman with a, looks like a Kansas City stack, which I kind of like with RotoWire. There's Gosman and Flaherty with a Giant stack, which you know I really like. You got Jock in there, Conforto, a couple of lefties. Wilmer Flores has been super hot. He's cheap, 3,400. I'm sure he will be popular today. There's a couple of, I like that one a lot. They got Witt and Perez. You got the power for Kansas City against Carrasco. So love what it's doing, Brandon. Notice how fast it was, right?
Yeah, it's looking good.
Yeah, I remember, but Brandon and I did a video. We didn't remove it because we want people to know how real we are, that we probably sat here for a half hour and waited for something to happen and it never did. And finally Brandon was out of coffee and we had to end the video, but it's on our YouTube channel. So if you want to know that we aren't making things up, actually, I don't think Brandon thought I'd actually going to put it out there for people to see, but we did. We want people to know the evolution. So what's that mean? It means now things are starting to scream, and talked about it earlier. I mean, this is so cool. Where's that Giant stack? I love this stack right here, but if I want to get a little different, see, I could run 150, right? Let's just see. I'm really getting brave. I'm going to test it out, Brandon.
All right.
Let's see what happens when I hit 150. It's trying to hide from me. That's what happened.
You're not doing the blend. You're doing Sports Radar,
huh? Where did they go? Where's those Giants? And where did it go? Where did it go? It moved on me. It's sad. You're going to make me do 150? Yes, I am. Where'd it go? Nice Orioles stack. That looks attractive too. There's John. Oh, right here. There it is. Okay. Hold on. Why? Maybe because it was hiding. Okay, here we go. Look at this. It's working. And look at the blends, right? I've already did my lineups, but it's through the CSV up there, and then look at what it's doing. It shows we got 19 Toronto stacks, 19 Texas stacks, 19 Diamondback stacks, 19 Giants, 17 Mets, 18 White Sox, 19 Baltimore, 19 Kansas City, right? How cool is that? And then you hit close, and they all appear. Brandon, this is amazing. I think we should up the price. No.
Eventually we will.
Yeah.
You want to get in early.
Test drive it for $1, $29.97 a month after, or one-time lifetime while we're in beta. You get all the sports. You get baseball. We're about to start putting in some football feeds. We will have NBA. As Brandon said, we will have golf, and who knows where we'll go following that. But I mean, value, right? Look at this. I mean, it has all 150 lineups here for you to gaze over, or through a CSV up there. If you were using DraftKings, you could have set up for FanDuel. Like, we'll have Yahoo also for football, but I think this is just like the coolest thing ever. But took a while to get there, Brandon, but imagine what we're going to be able to do now. So excited.
Yeah.
I'm going to close that out. You can see the mixture though, right? The goal was to get coverage. If you're going to do max 150, your goal is to just get one into the winner's circle, right? I think that would make most everybody happy. Just one lineup, right? Let's say all the rest of them bombed and you just got that one in And the dollar today, I think it's $1,000 or $1,500 on top, right? You could play for a few more days on their money.
Good. Yeah.
If you got brave and you did the max 300, the mini max they call it, which has gotten quite a bit of popularity on DraftKings, they have as much as 15,000 on top when they do 125,000. Smaller slate today, probably 75,000 total with 5,000 or 7,500 on top. So we're not, everybody's got their budget, you know, whether you play the 10-cent games or the $15 games, which a lot of the pros do. We're trying to help you automate stacking, right? So what happens when you do 5, as I showed you earlier, it takes, you have 8 position players, right? And 2 pitchers. Pitchers are critical. I mean, if you have 2 pitchers and 4-game slate, one of them bombs and goes negative, it tends to drag down your lineup. But if you hit the pitchers, which would give you a lot of variation, right? Flaherty, as you said, there he is across the board, but there's Gosman and Toussaint. Toussaint could be sneaky today against those Rangers for the White Sox, but a lot of variety, right? And then with the stacks of the 5, it's going to go out and search for the best other 3. Not necessarily from the same team, but you saw Witt and Perez mixed in with that Giants. I really like that stack. There's some more Giants with some Diamondbacks, so that's projecting some runs there. But anyways, you kind of get it, right? It's automated, saves you a lot of time. You could have locked in position players or pitchers saying, I don't even want to have the chance of getting Carrasco, but you do have to remember he's pitching against the Royals, so possible if he weaves around Witt and Perez. Real quick, showed a lot. I want to get this video up.
So in the background of that, Daryl, you have any idea how many millions of potential lineups there are? It's calculating.
Yeah, I mean, in a 4-game slate, right? There's 113 possible players according to this, right? Showing it in 4 games. So you have 8 pitchers. The Giants are going to, at least 3 pitchers will play. I mean, you got Beck, Alexander, probably Jacob Junis, Walker's back, and then Duvall. They could have 4, right?
Yeah.
So pitcher wise, it's going to give you all those variables unless you lock a pitcher out. And then position players, and if you like the Giants, Kapler likes to split lineups, right? You got Conforto starting against the righty. You got Elway J, I call him Lamont Wade Jr., a lefty, starting against a righty. You got Jock, a lefty, right? And then all of a sudden, they bring in a lefty, and Kapler, he's known to do this. Jock could hit a home run, and then all of a sudden they'll bring a lefty in, and my dad starts cursing because they take Jock out and put in Slater. He's a big Giants fan, so, right? My dad will be texting me, bleep, bleep, bleep. What's he doing that for? Leave him in there. Anyways, what I was getting at there is, as Brandon said, even in a 4-game slate, you know, you think there's not that many possibilities, but pinch hitters, injuries, trying to get you coverage. So what you can do here, you can lock out. If you wanted to fade one of those teams, you could totally fade. If you wanted diversity, we build it into the auto stacking, but if you want to do all this manually, global max exposure, it's at 100, you can go wherever you want to go, 60, 70, 50, blah, blah, blah. The team stacking bonuses, if you didn't use the auto stack, you could boost that. We build it in for you into the auto stacking. If you want to get specific on exposure per position or pitchers, you can do that too. So many different toys to play with, right? It's like, what are you going to do? I know what I do. I dumb it down to Daryl. Or what did you call it? Brandonizing it? Sabanizing it? What is it? What did you say it's called?
What, the dumbing down to Daryl?
Yeah, I thought you
Sure.
said something in your household. It's called Abbonisms or something.
Abby normal in my house.
Oh, Abby normal. So what I had the dumbing it down to Daryl means keeping it super simple, right? So I just go, I'll lock in a player or two just because it's what I do. I'll let it go to stack 5. It's dangerous today, but if a team does go off and you've got that stack, you're in pretty good shape. If you have the pitchers, not a lot of pitchers to choose from, I flip it to auto and I say, do your thing, and it does it, right?
There's
And
just so much flexibility in the
yeah,
tool that you can mix and match any way you want to.
it used to take, I mean, I'd have to 2 or 3 hours, right? To just figure out, right? I'd go, okay. I mean, it was so I told Leonard, I was like, I'd say, okay, stack 5 of Arizona, right?
Hmm.
And then I'd set it and uplift him, and then, okay, give me 10 Baltimore. All right. This was just a few weeks ago, people. So super excited. I mean, the value is insane. We're gonna be excited to hear some success stories. I've been talking to some customers as they're trickling in. August, guess what, Brandon? We are limiting it. You know the number you just got back? 1,000. We're allowing 1,000 people in.
All right.
So I don't know if you noticed, your cell phone is customer service now.
Oh, is it good?
No, just kidding. We have a support number up there. We also have a WhatsApp for some of our international people that want to play in DraftKings or FanDuel, where it's allowed, and we're excited. We've got some crazy things we're going to announce next week. I've had this video run long enough. It's 9:47, so I'm going to do what Brandon loves for me to do, and probably a lot of viewers are going to just say, cut the meeting.
There you go.
Let me find where to do that. I hit this. Stop the recording. Hopefully everyone has a super spectacular, amazingly awesome, profitable Thursday with your MLB plays. Here we go.